Hello, Versati Catholic Academy. Week 8. 8 of distance learning. Welcome back for art. We are so nearing the end, and I'm trying to keep this, honestly, as true to the classroom as it would be. So that's what this week's going to be. So before I go any further, though, as we'll see in a moment, May is the month of Mary. Let's go ahead and begin with, and we just celebrated Mother's Day. Love all of our mothers. I love my mom. Let's go ahead and say a Hail Mary for the intercession of our Heavenly Mother. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, let's do this. What are we learning this week? The week of May 11th through the 15th. Week 8. Woohoo. There goes my sump pump. I think it's been a little rainy. Sorry. If you're ever wondering what that noise is, that's what it is. Okay. We only have 3 more weeks, not 6 weeks, 3 more weeks of school left. And as I just said before we started, I am really trying to wind down just like we would be doing in the classroom. Lucky you, we're not doing any cleaning or anything, so that's a plus to distance learning. But anyway, we are honoring Mary in our very last weeks here in art, and as we go through our final assessment, we're going to honor her through visual artwork. Visual, using your eyes. That's what I teach you, is visual art. So we're going to be doing that, and then we're going to be learning and drawing from master artists. Pretty simple. After we do this, I'm going to have a couple announcements, and I'm going to let you get working because it's project time. I haven't been able to really give you projects over this distance learning, but I'm giving you some now. Okay. So, as I've said, May is the month of Mary, and that's what our final project here is really, the inspiration is coming from. And as you know, we've gone through our history, we've looked at the Holy Family. The thing I think about Mary, had Mary never said yes, there never would have been Jesus. So, she's a very important person, and we love our mamas so much. So, and I love to think how there is nobody who can love Mary more than Jesus himself. So we are loving Mary this month, and we're going to show that through our artwork. What we're going to do, you're going to print up just like I've printed up. Or, well, you don't have to even print it up. You can clearly just look at it on the screen. I have 3 images of Mary that I'm going to ask you to choose one of those images. And I'm going to repeat myself from back when we sat in the classrooms, things I've said a lot this year. Just like if you're playing a sport or playing an instrument, it is perfectly okay to copy your coach, your music teacher. It is perfectly okay, as we are learning, to learn from and practice from the masters. This is very classically what we do in art, and you go to a classical school, so this is what I'm going to ask you to do. There are 3 Marys. You are choosing one, so I don't want to see something different than these 3. Okay? I want to see a really good effort of trying to draw what I have given you to choose from. The first one that you're going to choose from is going to be an image you've seen all school year, and we've even talked about him in distance learning, a Renaissance artist, Raphael. I have a closed-in picture of the Sistine Madonna. Now, this is the only option that I'm giving you with Mary holding Jesus. This one could be a little tricky, but that's your first option. The second one is an image, and simply she is just called Our Lady of Grace. I wanted to find one of the most well-used, I'm going to say that, images of Mary that you might find always on a prayer card, on a rosary pamphlet. And this is that image, and a lot of times you see on this prayer card with this image of Mary, and what you'll see with her on this, very typical of how we see Mary a lot. This is her standing full. She's in white and blue, and she has rays coming from her sides, from her hands, and she is stepping on a serpent. Okay, so this image, Our Lady of Grace, is another one. There's a fun thing going around right now. There's, I believe it's a high school student. She has drawn this image of Mary on the sidewalk or in her driveway, and it's just beautiful. And we'll get to medium here in a little bit. But I loved this image, and so this is the one, and you can always do a search too. And on your lesson plans this week, parents, you can look at it. I have the names, if you will, of these Marys that we're looking at. Sistine Madonna by Raphael, a crop-in of that. That means that I've just closed in on the face of Mary, and Jesus is in this one. The other one is Our Lady of Grace, and the last one, and we all know and love this image, and this image of Mary is up at our school, Our Lady of Guadalupe. So those are the three images, and the image of that is actually what Mary left on St. Juan Diego's, I'm not going to say it right, it's called, I don't know, what is it called? His tilma. I'm going to say that totally wrong, please forgive me. But the garment that he was wearing when he met Mary, and then all the roses fell out. So the artist on that, in that case, is actually God, because it was a miracle. So I'm giving you permission to duplicate or try to duplicate and learn from God in this one. So those are your three options that I want you to choose from, and feel free to ask Mom and Dad help you do an internet search if you want to look into these images a little bit more. If not, what I have provided you on your lesson plan should be sufficient. So now you might be saying, Mrs. Heyer, we've been working with my notebook and that's all I have. If all you have is your notebook and pencil, you can still do this, okay? I want you to think a little creatively though. I'm putting here to draw, sketch, paint, chalk, whatever you might have around. Let's try to use this. Something I would encourage maybe thinking of different types of paper that you might be able to use. Maybe newspaper. Maybe there's an old book in your house that is going to donate, and you could take out some typewritten paper. I love the idea of sheet music. It could be really pretty to do a light printed sheet music with maybe even a Marian song behind it, and then do some sort of a drawing. I really am encouraging you to still put some creativity in this, but the actual drawing or painting needs to mimic and show me that you are learning from the artists who created these images. Okay, so I want you to get creative. I mentioned the high school student who has done this out of just plain chalk, sidewalk chalk. Look that up if you want. If you have sidewalk chalk and you're at your sidewalk and you want to do this, do that. Okay. Whatever paper you have, if all you have is your notebook paper and a pencil, that works fine too. Okay. This is, I should say, this is your final assessment. This week you're going to do some drawing and you're going to get working on it. I do not have this due for a little while here till the end of next week, May 22nd. I want you working on this drawing just like we were starting a project in school, and I say, okay guys, sometimes big projects we might have 8 classes to do this. This is one that I would be planning about 4 classes. I want you to think about sketching, practicing before you ever start your final. You know that's our procedure, so that's the first thing I want you to do. And then think about how can I be creative with how I want to draw this, and then start executing it. I'd like you to get through that this week. Next week, you're going to be finishing it and doing just a little bit of writing on it, okay? And that's your full assessment that we're going to do to get through this, and then we'll end the school year out with just kind of a fun, truly fun end of year submission that we'll be doing. And speaking of submission, please send me virtual images, digital images, okay? So ask parents to just take a photograph just of the image of what it is that you are doing. Again, I am not expecting any in this week. I really would like to have you working on and devoting some good time to the practicing, to the thinking about it, and just beginning the process. Now, if you're, well, I don't know if anyone's going out of town right now, but if there are circumstances that you say, Mrs. Hare, I have to do it this week, then you can do so. But I'm planning it as a 2-week project, which would end up being a 4-class project. with next week finishing and writing about it. And those guidelines are going to be a little more spelled out in next week's lesson. So I'm just going to make sure I've gone through all of this because I kind of skipped ahead. So we are choosing one of 3 images that I have provided for you. You are going to draw, sketch, paint, chalk, whatever. Marry one of those images I've given you. You're going to copy the artist. We learn from the masters. Okay? However, I'm going to give you some creativity. What paper are you using? What medium are you using? On this note right here, with some of our restrictions on where we can go being lifted this week, if you don't have any paper, but you really like a nice white piece of paper, or anything that you might think, please send me an email. Have mom and dad send me an email, because I'm going to be in the school a little bit this week. And you could always set up an appointment to come in and pick that up when Mrs. Winter's there. So please keep that in mind. If you just need something, I will be at the school from time to time. So that's the medium. And the turn-in. Again, remember the turn-in is May 22nd, but this week I want you to spend time thinking and practicing and then beginning the project, completing it next week. Turn-in will be virtual or digital. I probably should have written digital, because that kind of leads me to the end. I've got some other stuff written down here. I am currently working on a virtual art show. I wrote slideshow, but we're going to do a Versati virtual art show that will be coming out that last week of school. This is why this is very important. Now, not only are these images going to be the best of these are going to be in there, I will also be awarding Holy Smokes Awards based not just on this project, but any of the projects we've done over distance learning. This virtual art show will also feature some of my best turn-ins that I've gotten over distance learning, and I've gotten a lot, so I'm working on that right now, and I'm excited about being able to release that out and showcase all of the hard work you've done over this time. So keep that in mind. Photography contest, I'm continuing to post that from Bettinger Photography, so please, if you do this week, I'm going to ask you if you would just copy me, if your parents would copy me on the submissions, because I would love to then in turn put those into our virtual art show. And then last but not least, if you are not a sculpture student of mine or an 8th grader, I'm going to say goodbye, I love you, you don't have to listen anymore. So my 8th graders and my sculpture students, this is for you. As I mentioned, I'll be back in the school this week, and your parents will be getting emails from me on Monday. If you're watching this after Monday, well, then they've already gotten them. If you're watching this early Monday morning, they haven't gotten them. Sculpture, I have fired your coil pots. Most of you were 90 to 95% done. Those of you who weren't, I used a little bit more judgment and did a little bit of finishing of your pots, but everybody has a coil pot. They've been fired, and they're ready now for underglaze and glaze. If you are interested in glazing those, please look for an email. Parents will be getting that also tomorrow to let me know if you do want to glaze them. You're going to do that. You're going to pick out some colors and just let me know, and again, same pickup procedures. Those details will be in the email. 8th grade. I'm so excited that we're going to put together a few of those things we talked about before any of this happened. So also, parents of 8th graders, please look for emails. I am working on a couple projects that we're going to try to get done this week. As long as you are okay with it, your parents are okay with it, I can have 3 of you in the art room at a time. We will work on the ceiling tile, getting that painted, and then I have a project for the prayer garden we're going to be doing. So look for those, and I'm super excited to get back in the school to some capacity this week. Also, looking ahead to end of school, I will be sorting all artwork and getting it ready for those pickup days coming the end of the month. Sorry for those big announcements at the end. Remember, we're drawing Mary. You're choosing one of the 3. You can draw, sketch, whatever, but you have to follow the image of the master artist that you're choosing from. Any questions, you or your parents can give me an email. I look so forward to seeing what you guys come up with this project. I'm super excited to be able to assign a project to you and end out the school year in this way. So believe that's all I have. I will end with a glory be and look forward to seeing your work. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, a world without end. Amen. In the Father, and the Son,